So today we are going to start the fourth unit, that is the real-time operating system based embedded system design. Okay. So in this unit, we are going to discuss about the different types of operating systems and basics of the operating systems. What is the core of the operating system? What are the main functions of the operating system? What are the responsibilities that core of the operating system, like kernel, will take care of? And for the embedded system design, which are all the operating systems are preferred? What all operating systems are used and preferred for the designing of the embedded system? We are going to discuss. We are going to learn from this unit. Let us move to the contents of this unit. Here you can see the contents of the fourth unit, that is the operating system basics, types of the operating systems, task, process, threads, multi-processing and multitasking, task scheduling. So these are all the contents of the fourth unit. Operating system basics means we are going to discuss about the introduction regarding the operating system, what is the definition of the operating system, and what is the architecture of the operating system, and what are the main functions performed by the operating system. What are the after that? In that we are going to discuss about each responsibility of the operating system, which is belonging to memory, or process, or files, directories, input, output devices. Next, types of the operating system. How many types of the operating system? The same thing we also discussed in brief in the third unit while we are discussing the designing approaches of the embedded firmware. So second type of the design approach is that embedded operating system based approach. While we are discussing that topic, we discussed the different types of operating system which are used in the development of that embedded firmware, like general purpose operating system, real-time operating system, with examples we discussed. And in detail, we are going to discuss here. And task, process, threads also, we come across these topics in the third unit also. The task, main application may be divided into multiple tasks, and tasks may again divided into processes, which is a part of the task, where thread is a part of the process. Frankly speaking, all these are the programs or set of instructions. Okay, in detail, we are going to discuss about this task, process, threads, and task control blocks, process control blocks, thread control blocks, what all the information are stored by these control blocks of this task, process, and threads. Next, multi-processing and multitasking. So it is one of the additional feature of this embedded system, we can say, multi-processing and multitasking. The same time execution of can be able to perform multiple process, can be able to execute multiple tasks. And next, task scheduling the task. Where the application is having multiple tasks, each task should be scheduled to execute a particular time. Okay, so when it is having a multiple instructions, each instruction is should be scheduled by the process. So within that time period, the execution of particular task, the execution of the process should be completed. Next, come to the primary functions of the operating system. Before going that, we should know what is the operating system. So operating system is something like a bridge between the application, system application or software, we can say, and the hardware. So it is a bridge between the system application and the hardware. And primary functions of these operating systems are something like make the system convenient to use, or organize and manage the system's resources effectively and correctly. These are the main functions of the operating system. Okay, so to perform any operation, for example, to execute any instruction, some resources are needed. As I know, some resources need to be allocated for that process or thread. Okay, so allocation of these resources or reallocation of these resources, and giving some memory place. So these programs should be placed somewhere in the memory, right? So who will provide this memory space? Operating system will take care of that. So these are all the main functions of the operating system. Apart from that, makes the system convenient to use, okay, by scheduling or by synchronizing this task and process, organize and manage the system resources efficiently and correctly. Here we can see the architecture of the operating system. Operating system architecture and our operating system components, we can say. So here, as we already discussed, it is like a bridge between the user applications and the hardware. You can see clearly. So, no? So it is nothing but the operating system, and which acts as a bridge between the user applications and the hardware. And here we can see some of the functions of the operating system or some of the responsibilities of the operating system. So what are the main responsibilities that the functions or tasks performed by this operating system? No, memory management, process management, time management, file system management, input output device system management. So these are all the main responsibilities and functions performed by the operating system. Frankly speaking, the core of the operating system is nothing but kernel. Kernel is the core of the operating system, and it is responsible for managing the system resources and the communication among the hardware and the other system services. All the functions which are done by the operating system are actually done by the kernel. Kernel is something like a heart of the operating system, and it is responsible for managing the system resources. Is nothing but allocating the system resources. To perform any operation, some system resources are required: data variables, local variables, global variables, and memory space, allocation of the memory. Is that no? So these are all the resources required for execution of the particular task and process. So here, these system resources, who will manage the system resources? Core of the operating system. There's nothing but kernel of the operating system responsible for the managing of the system resources, and communication among the hardware and system services also managed by or organized by the kernel of the operating system. And these kernel acts as abstraction layer between the system resources and user applications. To execute, to perform, or to implement these applications, it requires some resources, right? So these resources are provided by the kernel. So it acts as an abstraction layer between the system resources and user application. Along with that, it also contains a set of system libraries and services. So these are all the responsibilities and introduction regarding the operating system. Operating system is a bridge between the user applications and the hardware, and it is having some responsibilities. We are going to discuss about each responsibility in detail. Now we're considering one of the operating system. Usually we know that generally basically there are two types of operating systems are available. That is general purpose operating system and real-time operating system. If you consider the kernel of the general purpose operating system, so the responsibilities are the services handled by the kernel of the general purpose operating systems are like this: process management, memory management, file system management, IO system management or device management, production systems, and interrupt handler. These are all the services provided by the kernel of the general purpose operating system. And we're going to discuss about each service of this kernel of the general purpose in detail. Process management, it is one of the responsibility of the core of the operating system, that is the kernel of the operating system. Here, what is happening now? It deals with the managing the process or task, and this process management includes the setting up the memory space for the process. So after writing the program, and that application may have so many tasks, and so tasks are subdivided into process, and that process need to be placed stored in the memory, right? So allocation of the memory space for that processes are the set of instructions, frankly speaking, and loading that process code into the memory, usually in the flash memory of the embedded system. We know that. Yes or no? So there are two basic memory types of the embedded system: program memory and data memory. That is read-only memory and the random access memory. Read-only memory is a non-volatile where we are going to load our programs or applications into that. Okay. So loading of this process code into that flash memory of the embedded system will be taken care by this process management of the kernel. It is one of the responsibility of the kernel, and allocating the system resources and scheduling the tasks, and scheduling the processes, and managing the execution of that process. Okay. So allocating the system resources for the execution, which are all the resources required to execute the set of instructions placed in the process. So the allocation of those resources are taken care of this operating system, and scheduling the execution of that process. Okay, each instruction should be completed within these nanoseconds. Scheduling that task, scheduling a process, scheduling are one of the responsibilities of the kernel, and setting up the managing the process control block. As I already tell you, each task is having its own control block. As similarly, process is having its own control block. Even threads are having its own control block. What will be there in the control block? No, the process. Each process is having its own ID, right? So that ID, unique ID, each process is having with which that be identified, right? So that ID of that process and starting and ending addresses and are all the resources which are required to execute that process, right? So all this information, entire information regarding that process will be maintained by the process control block. And setting of this process control block and managing of this process control block is a responsibility of the kernel of the operating system. Then after that, very important thing is the establishing the communication between the processes, right? And establishing the communication in between the process, that is called inter-process communication, and synchronization between the process, right? Process synchronization, process communication are also responsibilities of the kernel of the operating system. Then after that, detecting the process, and after the execution of the process completed, terminating the process. These are also one of the important tasks produced by the are actually performed by the kernel of the operating system. Next, along with this process management, some of the responsibilities of the kernels are something like memory management. Usually the memory is of two types: primary memory and the secondary memory. Primary memory is volatile in nature, that is random access memory, whereas the secondary memory is non-volatile in nature, read-only memory. The random access memory will load it with the data, shared data, or the variables which are required to execute these processes, and which is volatile in nature. What is the difference between volatile and non-volatile? In the absence of the external power supply, we'll use the entire data if it is in the volatile nature. Okay, in the case of the random read-only memory, where is the program memory, you can also call it as, that is non-volatile. Even in the absence of the external power supply, our data won't be destroyed, right? We won't lose that data. So here, primary memory management, the term primary memory refers to the volatile memory where processors are loaded and variables and shared data associated with the process are stored. Here, the memory management unit of the kernel is responsible for each memory. This primary memory management is having a unit that is called as memory management unit. The main responsibilities of this memory management unit are keeping track of which part of the memory area is currently used by the which process. Okay, so memory is allocated for each process, and which portion of the memory is now currently utilized by the process now. That data or the information will be managed by the or maintained at followed by the memory management unit. Then allocation of the memory space on the need basis, and deallocation of the memory space after the execution of the process in a dynamic allocation, in a dynamic manner, is also one of the responsibility of the memory management unit. Next services provided by the kernel of the operating system is a file system management. And here, file is a collection of the related information that information may be in the form of text, that may be audio information or video, or it may be Word document, or it may simple programs. Okay, so all these informations collected, collection of all these informations are maintained, that we can call it as a file or directories. And the file operation is useful service provided by one of the useful service provided by the operating system. And in the file management system, the responsibilities or the services provided by the kernel of the operating systems are as follows: the creation and deletion and alteration of the files. Similarly, the creation of the directories or deletion of the directories and the alterations of the directories if any needed, and saving of files in the secondary storage memory, and providing the automatic allocation of the file space based on the amount of free space available. Okay, who will take care of all these things? Kernel of the operating system will take care of that allocation of the memory space for the files, right, and the directories, providing a flexible naming convention for the files. So flexibility is also provided while you are naming the files or directories. Here, along with that, it is also having input-output device system management. And here, kernel is responsible for routing the input-output requests coming from the different user applications to the appropriate IO devices systems. Okay, and in well-structured operating systems, the direct accessing of the input-output device is not at all allowed, and the access to them is provided through a set of application program interfaces. About this application program interface, we are going to discuss in the next coming classes. Exposed by these APIs are exposed by the kernels. And here the kernel maintains a list of all the input-output devices of the system, and the service device manager or the device drivers are plays a vital role here. Okay, the service device manager of the kernel is responsible for handling the all input-output devices related operations, and I mean, similar to the memory management unit, a PROS control block. Here, about this input-output devices, device manager is there who will responsible for handling all the input-output device related operations. And the kernel talks to input-output devices through a set of low system calls. These low-level system calls are called as device drivers. Okay, so here device drivers are implemented. Means when the kernel talks to input-output device through a set of low-level system calls which are implemented in a service, these are called as device drivers. So through the device drivers, the kernel talks to the input-output devices. And remaining the responsibilities and the types of the operating system we are going to discuss in the next class. Here today, we discussed about the, we started the fourth unit and we discussed the different contents of the fourth unit, and it is having the basics of the operating system, introduction regarding the operating system, what is the architecture of the operating system, what are all the responsibilities and main parts of the operating systems. Okay, and in detail where we discussed about the each responsibility of the kernel of the operating system, and remaining services of this kernel of the operating system, and types of the operating systems we are going to discuss tomorrow.